Okay, so you know how it goes, right? Setting goals, no problem. We love to do that.
Yeah, we get that new planner.
The vision board,
Yeah.
the motivational playlist,
Uh-huh.
but actually achieving those goals.
Right.
That's where things get a little
Yeah.
tricky. So that's what we're diving into today. It's less about all that motivational fluff, and more about the psychology behind why we succeed or fail. And to really dig into this, we've got a bunch of different stuff, research articles, expert opinions, even some personal anecdotes, all to help us, all of us, get some actual tools
Absolutely.
to conquer our goals.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting? The research actually points the finger right back at us sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the biggest roadblocks aren't external. It's internal stuff, like fears, hidden beliefs.
Okay.
Even this really interesting concept of like fear of success.
Fear of success. Okay, yeah, let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
So our sources point out that like one of the biggest mistakes is setting those vague goals.
The classic.
Yeah, like I want to be healthier, I want to travel more.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, without a map, it's kind of no surprise that they just sort of phantom gathering dust.
It's like trying to bake without recipe.
Yeah.
You have all the ingredients, but you don't know what to do with them.
Right, yeah.
You're going to end up with a mess.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah. Our sources really emphasize, like, be specific.
Oh, okay.
You know, so instead of, I want to be healthier, it's, I'm going to work out 3 times a week for 30 minutes, or I'm going to eat at least 5 servings of veggies a day.
So it's turning those like...
vague aspirations.
Yeah, those vague aspirations into concrete, measurable things you can actually do. It's almost like...
Like you're giving your GPS a destination.
Yeah.
It knows where to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Specificity gives you that starting point, and then you can actually, like, see how you're doing, track your progress.
Oh, that's interesting. And speaking of progress, another thing that came up a lot in the research was this whole illusion of overnight success.
Oh, yeah.
It's like...
the social media effect.
Yeah, exactly, where it's just like, oh, look, everyone else is just...
pushing it.
Getting what they want instantly. But the reality is, most of the time, success is not a straight line.
No, it's not. Our sources really debunk this myth of overnight success, and they highlight something called the compound effect, which is like...
The compound effect.
The compound effect, yeah. So small, consistent actions that you might not even notice.
Oh, okay.
But over time, they add up. They build on each other.
Okay.
And then...
like building a house.
Yeah, brick by brick. Each brick might seem small, but then you have this foundation for something extraordinary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so patience. Yeah. Long-term perspective. Key. And then this kind of ties into another thing our sources talked about. Celebrating those little wins along the way.
Oh, I love this. It's so easy to get like laser focused on the end goal and forget about the journey.
Oh, yeah.
But acknowledging those wins can really keep you going.
Yeah, it's like
little rewards along the way.
Yeah, it's like little dopamine hits, right?
Totally.
Yeah. You know, I actually recently started using a habit tracking app and like just seeing those streaks.
What?
It's been surprisingly motivating, I have to say.
It's visual. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see it. It's great.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned motivation because our sources also talk about how fear plays into our struggles with goals.
Yeah. And not just fear of failing, right?
Yeah.
It's fear
of success. Yeah.
Okay, so.
Which sounds counterintuitive, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But we can actually self-sabotage because we're like deep down afraid of what'll happen if we actually reach our goals.
So we're like subconsciously holding ourselves back, even though we want to achieve something.
Yeah, we're getting in our own way.
Okay, so what are some of the reasons people might fear success?
Well, the research points to a few different things.
Okay.
For some people, it's the fear of more responsibility or the pressure to keep succeeding once you've achieved something.
Yeah.
For others, it might be the fear of letting others down or even like losing their current identity, who they are now.
So like we get attached to a certain version of ourselves.
Right.
And the idea of changing, of stepping into a new, maybe more successful version can feel kind of scary.
It can feel really threatening. Like standing at the edge of the diving board, you want to jump, but
you're not sure if you want to.
You hesitate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that fear of success.
Okay.
It shows up in all kinds of ways. Procrastination, self-doubt.
Okay.
Even physical things like anxiety or insomnia.
So how do we address this? Like, how do we deal with that fear of success?
Right.
and allow ourselves to actually achieve our goals?
Well, the research actually says, first,
okay,
acknowledge it.
Okay.
Don't try to ignore it. Don't push it down.
So it's having that conversation with yourself.
Yeah, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Why? What's making me feel this way?
And then once you know
exactly
what those fears are,
then you can start to question them.
Oh.
Are they real? Or are they based on old experiences, limiting beliefs that might not even be true anymore?
It's like those tapes we play in our heads, right?
Totally.
Those negative self-talk tapes.
Often they're just stories we tell ourselves. They're not even true, but we keep playing them and they stop us from doing what we want.
Oh, that's so true. So you question those beliefs.
Yeah.
And their power starts to
diminish.
Yeah.
You can also use visualization, but this time, focus on seeing yourself dealing with those scary changes, not just achieving the goal.
Okay, so instead of picturing the end result, you're picturing yourself like handling...
Yeah, like, how will I handle the challenges?
Yeah.
How will I adjust to this new success?
It's like creating a blueprint for your brain.
Exactly.
For how to deal with those situations so they're not as...
less daunting, less overwhelming.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And then finally, our sources really stress the importance of self-compassion.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay to feel fear. It's a natural...
It's human
response, so don't
judge yourself.
Yeah, be kind to yourself.
Not understanding.
And remember that you're capable of growth.
Yeah, adaptation.
And we can handle whatever comes our way.
You've got this.
Yeah.
And, this actually leads to something else important that came up.
Okay.
Reframing how we think about consistency.
Oh, okay. I'm curious, how do we reframe consistency?
Well, we often think of it as this rigid, like all or nothing.
Right, like if I miss a day...
Yeah, you failed. You're done.
I've messed it all up.
Yeah, it's that perfectionism trap again, right? But our sources give a more forgiving, realistic perspective.
Okay.
They say redefine consistency as just showing up.
Just showing up.
Even when you don't feel like it.
Even when you don't feel like it.
It's not about being perfect. It's about progress over perfection.
So it's like the long game.
Yeah.
Don't let those little slip-ups derail.
Exactly.
The whole thing.
Yeah. It's about building that resilience, getting back on track, and just moving forward.
And I like how the sources encourage us to, like, reframe our relationship with failure.
Oh, yeah.
It's not this big scary thing.
No, it's a chance to learn.
Learning opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, what works, what doesn't. Each time you stumble, you get smarter, more resilient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So embracing the process, acknowledging that we're not going to be perfect, and that all those steps, even the missteps, are part of growing.
Absolutely.
This whole conversation is making me rethink a lot of my own goal-setting stuff. But before we wrap up this first part, I want to go back to something we mentioned briefly earlier, visualization. You mentioned it in the context of fear of success.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about how visualization can help us with our goals in general.
That's a great question. Our sources actually talk about it a lot.
Okay.
Visualization is more than just daydreaming. It can rewire your brain for success.
Okay.
When you really vividly imagine achieving your goals, you're basically creating a mental blueprint.
So you're giving your subconscious mind a picture of what you want.
And the more detailed it is, the more emotions you put into it.
Yeah.
The more powerful it is.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's actually pretty amazing. Our brains, sometimes they can't tell the difference between something you've imagined and something that's really happened.
Oh.
So when you imagine doing something, achieving something, your brain's firing the same pathways as if you're actually doing it.
So it's like we're tricking our brains a little bit.
A little bit, a good trick.
Yeah.
It's a good kind of trick. And it actually works.
Wow.
Visualization has been shown to, like, improve athletic performance, boost creativity, even reduce anxiety. And it's not just seeing the end result. It's seeing the whole process, those steps you'll take, even the challenges.
So we're not just focused on the finish line.
Right.
We're mentally rehearsing the whole race.
Yeah. Obstacles and all. You imagine yourself overcoming those, staying motivated, celebrating those little wins along the way.
Yeah. Okay, that's powerful. So visualization, all the other things we talked about, specific goals, those systems, reframing consistency, dealing with the fear. It's like a whole framework.
It's a holistic approach to achieving anything you set your mind to.
Yeah. Wow, this has been really eye-opening. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot in this first part.
Yeah.
We've talked about those common pitfalls, those myths, and we found some actual strategies to use to deal with those challenges. And we even got into...
fear of success.
Yeah, which...
That's a good one.
It is. Yeah. But before we move on, I want to leave everyone with something to think about.
I love it.
Okay, so think about a goal you've been working on. Maybe you've been putting it off, or it's been a struggle to make progress. Ask yourself, what can I do, like, right now, even a small step to get a little bit closer to that goal? Because remember, even a tiny step is still progress.
It all adds up.
And those small steps, they add up over time and can lead to amazing results.
Absolutely. Love that. Take some time to reflect on that, and we'll be back to talk more about how to make your goals a reality. So before we took a little break, we were talking about that visualization, right?
Yeah.
And how it can actually help us kind of rewire our brains.
Yeah. It's so wild that our brains basically believe...
They believe it.
Those imaginary experiences.
Yeah. And then that leads to real changes.
Totally.
It's pretty
cool. It is cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, our sources talk about another side of visualization, especially when we're dealing with that fear of success.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Tell me more about that. How can we use it for those like subconscious fears that might be holding us back?
Well, instead of just picturing like the good stuff that happens when you reach your goal.
Okay.
Visualize yourself handling the tough parts, the changes that might come.
So it's not just like, oh, I'm at the finish line. Yay.
No.
It's like, okay, what happens along the way?
Exactly. You're rehearsing the whole race.
Okay.
Like, what obstacles might pop up? How will I deal with them?
So you're kind of creating this plan in your mind.
A mental blueprint for like, okay, this happens. I can handle it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't feel as scary.
Right. Less daunting. And here's the really interesting part. Our sources say that when you do that, when you see yourself overcoming those fears, it can actually trigger stuff in your body.
Like hormones that make you feel good.
Like, are we talking about dopamine?
Dopamine, endorphins, the feel-good chemicals.
But it's not just changing how you think,
it's physical, too.
Yeah.
It's like this positive feedback loop.
Okay, that's really cool. And it makes me think about something else the sources talk about a lot. Motivation.
Oh, yeah.
And like how we're not all motivated.
In the same way.
Yeah, in the same way.
Not at all. Some people, they're all about those external rewards, right?
Yeah.
Recognition, money.
Yeah.
Others, it's more internal.
Mm-hmm.
The process itself, or like how their work helps others, that's what keeps them going.
Yeah. No, I definitely relate to that. Like, if a goal really feels meaningful to me, if it aligns with my values,
right,
I'm way more likely to stick with it.
Exactly. That's intrinsic motivation.
It's intrinsic motivation.
Yeah. And understanding your style can make all the difference.
So how do we figure out what our style is? Like, what are some specific things we can do?
Well, they suggest thinking back to times when you felt really motivated, engaged, and look for patterns. What was it about those experiences that kept you going?
So it's kind of like detective work, looking for clues.
Exactly. You're looking for clues in your past successes.
Okay, yeah.
And once you see those patterns, you can use that to choose goals that actually work for you.
Oh, that's smart.
It is. Another thing they say is experiment.
Okay.
Try different kinds of goals. Like, if you're not sure if you're more external or internal, try setting a goal that has both.
Oh, I see.
Right. So let's say you want to learn a new language.
Okay.
The external reward could be, traveling to a country where they speak that language.
Yeah.
The internal reward might be the satisfaction of like learning something new, expanding your horizons.
Yeah. And then as you're working towards it, pay attention to like what keeps you going on those days.
Right. What actually motivates you?
When it's a little harder.
Yeah. You become a scientist of your own motivation.
That's such a cool way to think about it.
It is.
Yeah, and it all comes back to the more you understand what motivates you, the better you are at setting goals.
You set goals that you'll actually achieve.
You'll stick with.
Right. And that brings us to another big idea our sources talk about.
Okay.
The power of habit.
Habits? They can be...
Well, they can be good or bad.
Yeah, good or bad.
For sure.
For sure.
But when it comes to goals, habits can be your superpower.
Yeah.
They really can. Our sources say instead of relying on willpower, which, let's be honest, comes and goes.
It's unreliable.
So unreliable.
Yeah.
Build systems that make it easier to do what you need to do.
Okay.
Even when you're not feeling it.
So it's kind of like taking the decision out of it.
Yes, exactly.
You don't have to think about it. You just do it.
It's automatic. Like brushing your teeth, you don't have to think about it. You just do it.
Yeah, it's a habit.
It's a habit.
Yeah.
And our sources, they point to this thing from psychology, like how habits are formed.
Okay.
Through repetition.
Okay.
And reward.
So repetition meaning?
Doing it over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. Think about learning to ride a bike.
Right.
At first, it's hard. You're thinking about every move.
Yeah.
But you keep doing it.
You get it.
And then it becomes second nature, automatic.
Yeah.
And the reward part,
yeah,
that's what makes you want to keep doing it.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you do something, you get a positive feeling. Your brain goes, ooh, I like that.
It releases the dopamine.
Dopamine. Yeah. The pleasure chemical.
Yeah.
And that makes you want to do it again and again.
So it's like a positive feedback loop. You get that little hit of dopamine.
Exactly. It reinforces the behavior.
Okay. So how do we use this knowledge about habits to actually help us reach our goals?
Well, they say start small.
Okay.
One habit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to change everything at once. Just pick one small thing.
So if I want to eat healthier,
yeah,
maybe I just start by adding some veggies to each meal.
Exactly.
Or if I want to be more active,
yeah,
just a 10-minute walk every day.
Perfect. And make it easy on yourself.
Okay.
Remove those obstacles.
Yeah.
Want to meditate.
Yeah.
Set your alarm earlier. Put your cushion out the night before.
So you're not scrambling.
Right. Set yourself up for success. And think about the reward, too. Link that new habit to something you enjoy.
Okay.
Want to read more? Make a cozy ritual out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Light a candle. Make some tea. Get comfy.
Yeah.
Want to exercise? Find a class that's fun.
Something you look forward to.
Exactly. And track your progress. That visual reminder, seeing those streaks, it's powerful.
It really is.
It keeps you going. And remember, be patient. It takes time.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged if you mess up.
Yeah. How
Open to everyone.
Yeah.
Just get back on track and keep building that consistency.
Progress over perfection.
Always.
Yeah.
And, this leads to something really cool that our sources talk about. Keystone habits.
Keystone habits? Okay, I like the sound of that. What are those?
They're like habits that have superpowers. They don't just change one thing. They have this ripple effect.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they impact other areas of your life. Like they use exercise as an example a lot.
Okay.
You start exercising regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly you're eating better, sleeping better, more energy. Your mood improves.
So like one positive habit.
Yeah, one good habit leads to all these other good things.
It's like a domino effect.
It is a domino effect. And they say there are others, like making your bed every morning.
Oh.
Or having a consistent sleep schedule.
Interesting.
Those can create those ripples too.
Okay, but how do we know which ones are keystone habits for us? Like, what should we be focusing on?
They say pay attention to the habits that really make a difference.
Okay.
Like, how's your energy, your mood, your overall well-being? Experiment and see what creates that positive momentum.
So it's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. This whole conversation about habits.
Yeah.
It's made me realize they're like the foundation.
The foundation, yeah.
For a good life.
For every...
Yeah, they really are the building blocks.
Okay, so we've talked about visualization, those different motivation styles, and now these keystone habits.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered a lot in this part.
A lot of good stuff.
But before we get to the final part, where we put it all together, I want to leave you with a question.
Okay, hit me with it.
Think about a habit you want to develop or something you've been trying to change.
Right.
Ask yourself, what's one small step I can take today to make it happen?
Love that. That tiny action repeated over and over. That's how you create real change.
So simple, but so powerful.
It really is. Take some time with that question, and we'll be back to wrap up our deep dive into making those goals a reality.
Okay, so welcome back for the final part of our deep dive into, well, conquering your goals. We've talked about so much.
We really have, yeah. Motivation, habits, all that good stuff.
It's been a lot.
But a lot of really useful stuff, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've talked about the pitfalls, those myths. We found some good strategies. But now the question is, how do we use all this in our actual lives? And our sources actually had some pretty practical advice on that.
Yeah, they really did. And one of the biggest things they stressed was, make a plan that works for you. It's not one size fits all.
So it's like taking all these tools we've talked about and building your own, custom toolkit.
Exactly. Look back at everything we've discussed and pick out the stuff that really clicked for you. Was it the visualization, building those keystone habits, reframing how you think about consistency?
Yeah. And then you take those ideas and turn them into actions.
Specific things you can do.
If visualization really works for you, create a super vivid picture in your mind of you achieving your goal. Engage all your senses. What do you see, hear, feel, even smell?
And if you're more about those keystone habits, think about one or two that could really make a difference in your life.
Right. Maybe it's getting enough sleep.
Oh, yeah. Sleep is huge.
Eating a good breakfast, learning something new every day.
Exactly. Our sources were big on this idea of Small changes can lead to big results. You don't have to do everything at once.
Yeah, it's about those small steps, done consistently.
That's where the magic happens.
They really build up over time.
They do, they do. Another thing they talked about was, like, set yourself up for success by creating the right environment.
Oh, yeah, like surrounding yourself with people who support you.
Yes, definitely.
Decluttering your space.
Even visual reminders.
Oh, yeah, love that.
Like sticky notes, vision boards, whatever works for you.
So it's like you're taking away those distractions.
Totally. You're removing those obstacles.
And creating an environment that actually supports...
Aligns with your goals.
Yeah, your goals. Okay, that's a good point. But what about those times when you're just not feeling it?
Right. We all have those days.
Yeah.
Our sources have some ideas for that too. One thing they say is, go back to your why.
Oh, yeah, like remind yourself why you started in the first place.
Exactly. Why is this goal important to you? How will achieving it change your life?
When you really connect with that deeper reason, it can be really motivating.
It renews your sense of purpose, right?
Yeah.
And be kind to yourself. Our sources really emphasize self-compassion.
Oh, yeah, that's so important.
Setbacks happen. Don't beat yourself up about it.
It's not about being perfect.
No, it's about learning.
Growing.
Getting back on track.
And celebrating how far you've come.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a sprint.
And one last thing that I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
The sources talked about experimenting, like being open to trying different things.
Oh, yeah. Find what works for you.
Because what works for one person
might not work for someone else.
Might not work for you. Exactly. So you have to be flexible, persistent.
And keep learning.
Keep learning, yeah.
That's the key. And I think this whole deep dive has really shown us that achieving goals, it's not just about the strategies or the techniques.
It's about mindset, too.
Big time. It's about believing in yourself, having that resilience, and never giving up.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with a question.
Okay, shoot.
If you could achieve any goal, big or small, what would it be? And what's one little thing you can do, like right now, to make it happen?
That's a great question. Dream big.
And take action.
Exactly. We hope this deep dive has given you the tools and inspiration you need to make those dreams a reality.
Yeah, remember, even the smallest step, done consistently, can lead to amazing things.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for that best version of yourself.